Welcome to Love to See It, a podcast about a housewife slayer who simply can't wait to get another bro into the turret.
And also Chris Harrison's weird MAGA-coded new reality dating show.
So today, for most of the episode, we're going to be getting into the Traitors season 4, episode 8, and we have a very special guest, one of the co-hosts of the If Books Could Kill and 5-4 podcasts, Peter Shamshiri, who we have a parasocial relationship with, so we're very excited. But before we get into that, a little housekeeping. Over on Rich Text, we released our recap of part 1 of Bridgerton season 4. And you can find that episode at claireandemma.substack.com.
And before Peter joins us, we needed to talk about a little Bachelor Nation adjacent news, which is that Chris Harrison, disgraced, or should be disgraced, former host of the Bachelor franchise because racism, is back. He's back at it. You can't keep a good white man down.
I think, listen, I'm not backing away from the claim that he's disgraced. He is disgraced, and that is why he's having to make this new weird niche right-wing dating show.
And he's like, that is who I am. I tried to tell you all that's not who I was, but I'm embracing it now, haters.
It quickly became clear that it was more convenient to just be honest and say, yes, this is who I am. So let's break it all down.
He's getting back into the reality dating show game, and it is truly even darker than we could have imagined. Claire, you correctly pointed out in our notes that this show was actually originally reported on a couple of years ago because Chris signed a deal with Dr. Phil's Merit Street Media.
Yeah, little tell there that what was coming was not going to be very wholesome. He signed this deal to host a new dating show similar to his podcast that he launched after he was cut loose from the Bachelor franchise. But much like his podcast, this deal was sort of orphaned when Merit Street declared bankruptcy, I think later the same year. It's like, believe it or not, there was not like this incredible, gigantic, untapped market for shows with the conservative bent produced by Dr. Phil's company. So
this idea's just been floating around, and I guess they found a taker.
Yeah, they were waiting for the conservative vibe shift, I guess. And then they were like, oh, now trad stuff is in again. Like, that's the cool, new, sexy, rebellious thing. Let's all go all in on conservative
who do we
content.
Have? Chris Harrison.
And he's probably been working on this, like keeping this one in his back pocket ever since that original deal. So we finally got this casting announcement, which was floating around Instagram this week. I think he posted it himself on Wednesday, but we had seen it on another account before that even. And if you haven't seen this, I just want you to visualize like you're on the subway and you see an ad where there's a man in a dark suit looking right at you. And as you look at the ad, you're like, I think that this is either just a bunch of totally normal motivational seminars or a cult or both. That is the aesthetic style of this casting announcement.
Also, the haziness of the photo. You're like, is that Chris Harrison? Is that an AI depiction that resembles Chris Harrison?
They actually aren't working with Chris Harrison, so they ripped a photo from the internet to pretend that he's involved, and then when they blew it up, it became pixelated. Yeah, it doesn't look very real. Definitely looks like it was made in like an old Photoshop template for like local business ad or something. Extremely low budge. Like, it's very Christian self-help cults.
And that is appropriate. So here's what it says. Now casting, dating for a traditional marriage. Chris Harrison is back, hosting a brand new dating series. A prominent streaming service is casting single men and women, 21 plus, who want a traditional marriage-minded partnership built on commitment and shared values. We're looking for singles who believe in clear roles. Wonder what those roles could be. Long-term commitment and building a life together, and who are dating with real intention. Apply now.
Okay, so Almost every phrase, this is so dense with dog
Loaded.
whistles. Almost every phrase of this is worth pointing out. But first of all, a prominent streaming service. Is it Rumble? Like, is it Truth Plus? Like, what are we talking about here? Is it Paramount? I mean, is this a Larry Ellison
It
joint?
really, I
Like,
mean, it could be. It really, at this point, I'm like, it could be
did Jeff Bezos
Fox.
have some more money to throw at like a MAGA style piece of entertainment after
Well,
he
now
was
that he's
done?
laid off all of the journalists at the Washington
Right.
Post,
He's
just
like,
take that pool of money, give it directly to Chris Harrison.
right. He needed to replenish his right wing media budget after he poured like $75 million into making Melania, because God knows they're not making much back on that. The way that this show is described, I don't even think we need to unpack because the dog whistles are just fully audible to the human
There's no
ear.
subtext. It's all textual.
A traditional marriage minded partnership built on commitment and shared values. Which values? I mean, I think that most people build their relationships on shared values. So the fact
The
that we're
correct values,
the correct
Claire.
ones. They're searching for singles who believe in clear roles.
Clear.
Okay.
They're very clear, and everyone has a role, and your role is clear.
Yeah, no, we all know what that means. It means like women go back in the kitchen. It means
Correct. It means
big man works on the line all day because he's so strong and brave, and he makes $500,000 doing that, and he brings it home to his beautiful wife in a skirt.
It means
and
there
she's
is an
barefoot.
umbrella, and the umbrella is the man and the Lord.
And then the woman is the smaller umbrella. And then below that are the children.
Correct.
And the children are so dry because each umbrella is a little bit bigger than the one below. Yeah, I think that this is just very clearly signaling that they're making a dating show for heteronormative evangelicals. Dating with real intention is a slightly more subtle one, but dating with intention has become, to me, such a conservative dog whistle. It's kind of like the I kiss dating goodbye of today. It's like we're going to still call it dating instead of being like, instead of dating, you should court. But it's like dating with intention is the courtship of the 2020s.
It also implies that, like, a lot of other people are just out here with no intentions.
Well, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. It's like they're dating, we're courting. In other words, like we're just building towards a committed marriage every time that we spend time together. Now we're dating with intention. And the intention is that each interaction is going to bring us one step closer to the holy bonds of matrimony. And it's like, I guess that now that I kiss dating goodbye and that whole brand of courtship became a little bit like passe or toxic, they needed to rebrand it in this slightly more like self-optimizing language of today.
Right, because a normal person might hear that and be like, yeah, I am dating with intention.
I too date with intention.
I have
intentions. It reminds me of when I joined OkCupid and one of the questions was like, how long do you see your next relationship lasting? And it was like 1 month, 1 year, 2 to 3. And I was like, I mean, ideally forever, but like, I don't know.
As possible, but I guess we'll see.
I'm open to it being 2 years long, but like, I'm not planning to embark on a 2-year relationship right now. I don't fucking know. I wasn't dating with enough intention. So for those who do go to apply or just like check out the train wreck,
which was me, I did go to the application link.
It's exactly what you would expect. It's even more blatant in the questionnaire.
Yeah. One of the questions is, there's a lot of open-ended questions with like text boxes. One of them is, what would your ideal marriage look like? And they need to give examples because they want to be very clear about the kind of ideal marriage they are looking for. Their examples are a provider husband and a stay-at-home wife. The wife managing the home / finances / childcare. Faith-based leadership in the home. Okay,
I'm
so
sorry, these sound like the same relationship.
Well, yeah,
they're like,
letting
which way?
you know.
Which way would you like to phrase the one kind of relationship we view as an option here? Would you like to focus more on what the woman is managing, or would you like to focus more on the man being outside of the home?
Or
like,
the religiousness.
We're all talking about the same thing here. Come on. I will just point out that like the most common and traditional form of marriage in history is one in which both husbands and wives do at least some form of work outside the home or
Claire,
like economic
Claire,
work.
I don't think that's traditional.
It's not traditional in the sense that it's what I saw in TV shows that were set in the 1950s. That's tradition.
Yeah.
A life that I assume my dad had as a small child. That's traditional.
Anything before that, does that matter?
No, it doesn't.
Please.
Uh,
This is so deeply alarming. They're like open-ended. What does your ideal look like? Here, we'll tell you. We'll tell you.
yeah.
This is your ideal. A stay-at-home wife.
What if you do want really clear roles and it's that you want a stay-at-home husband and you want to be the faith leader in your home? Is that something I could write
Please.
into the little text box? Would I be cast?
I mean, I think you
Well,
could
they might
write it
cast-
and they would automatically X
They
you out.
might cast me to be the harlot, like the villain.
To just be mocked.
Yeah, exactly. She's never gonna find a man with that mindset.
I have to assume that Maddie Pruitt and her creepy husband are pushing this casting on their podcast, where they also do things like tell women that if they take birth control, it will lead to infertility.
I just don't even know where to start there. Let's talk about some of the reactions that we've seen. Chase McNary, one of the most repellent suitors from JoJo's season, and I do keep a taxonomy of all of the identical creepy like Nazi haircut having dudes from that season.
He's one of the worst.
He's one of them. He commented, "Should just call it the right reasons." And Chris Harrison responded with the thinking face emoji. So I guess Chris Harrison
Shudder.
agrees. I find this hilarious because Maddie Pruitt is actually one of the most notorious Bachelor clout grifters to ever appear on the franchise. And I think that she would love this show. I think you're going to get a lot of very ambitious men and women who want to be conservative influencers going on this show.
That's not a real job. It's not a
The only
job.
real job that you're allowed to have as a conservative woman is to be a conservative influencer. So they got to take their chance.
Yeah, but they'll tell you that's not a job. That's just promoting the correct lifestyle.
Yeah, well, that's not work. Work is only work when men do it.
Correct. Maddie
Yeah.
doesn't work. She just has a podcast and a thriving brand and is deeply influential. It's not
Yeah.
a job. She's a woman.
Ugh. Other Bachelor Nation alums who seem pretty stoked about this show. Sean Lowe,
Sean, my God. I mean, I'm
my
not
problematic
surprised,
fave Bachelor.
but disappointing.
Yeah.
Also, Luke Pell, Bob Guinea, Daniel Cox. I mean, what a group of winners there. I
Yeah.
did previously see a positive comment from Ashley Iaconetti and maybe also Jared, her husband, but it seems like maybe it's been deleted.
I mean, the dark truth is that many, many Bachelor people who are not like openly conservative people are still close with Chris Harrison.
Yes.
Despite the
Racism.
racism and like despite the reasons that he ended up leaving the show and the franchise, a lot of them still feel very connected to him. A lot of them were at his wedding to Lauren Zima, his traditional wedding to his traditional bride, a very successful TV personality and executive.
His second marriage,
second
his
wife,
very traditional second marriage to
After
a
a
woman who works
divorce.
outside of the home.
yeah, after divorcing his like, I believe like stay-at-home wife who was the mother of his children and like took care of them while he was gallivanting around the globe to sit on beaches and pretend to drink mimosas for 6
That's
weeks during the filming of
Called
Bachelor in
traditional.
Paradise.
That's called traditional marriage.
Yeah, so a lot of people in Bachelor Nation still feel close to him, but I do think that there was a lot of backlash to this announcement from a big chunk of the Bachelor fandom. And so maybe people like Ashley are kind of like,
Maybe I don't want to be too closely associated with this project, I did enjoy perusing the comments looking for other Bachelor Nation people who had commented positively. There are also a lot of Handmaid's Tale gifts being thrown in there by
Yeah.
random commenters.
Yeah, there's a lot of backlash. Like, there is a huge chunk of the audience that misses Chris Harrison and is like, he
For
should never
sure.
have. And that is going to be a very MAGA associated part of the audience. And so, business wise, it does make sense. This is why so many people who get canceled lean into being just like real conservative pieces of shit and are just like, I'm going to now double down on that audience that thinks I never should have gotten fired. I'm going to make money off of them. Right.
And they're
But
ready. They're ready and willing.
ready.
They're like, take my dollars, Chris.
Exactly. But there are a lot of people in the audience who know Chris Harrison and follow him and remember him who maybe didn't think too much or care that much about what happened, but who are going to be put off by this.
Yeah,
when
I
they
saw
see
a
it.
lot of people being like, the vibes are bad of this announcement. Like, what are you doing?
Really, there's something quite like the word dystopian has gone out of fashion because it was so overused because it became too accurate. But it does feel a little bit dystopian in Hunger Games. It's like, I'm going to broker a marriage between a young, fertile woman who will be subservient to her, like, strong, powerful faith leader husband. It's just like, ugh.
I don't like it.
It doesn't feel good. So we're going to keep an eye on this. Hopefully it doesn't get made, but if it does,
say,
boy,
I hope to never have to recap this show because I hope it never exists.
Ugh, yeah. But for now, based on this one Instagram graphic, we only have 15 minutes worth of thoughts to offer. So we'll stay on this story.
Yeah, let's take a quick break, and when we get back, we will invite in Peter Shamshiri and get into the Traitors.
And we're back, and we're joined today by one of our favorite non-reality TV podcasters, Peter Shamshiri of If Books Could Kill and 5-4. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We are so excited, but the world's crossing over. It makes me a little bit nervous. If you're better at this than we are, then we're just out of a job. So,
I guess we're just going to have to retire. It's going to be really humbling.
I'm excited to take your jobs. That's why I'm here.
I assumed.
Yeah, you can just be like Rob Roush and look around and being like, why are my two mean mommies talking to me right now?
The women are talking too much.
And I will get you banished one by one from this podcast.
Yeah, we've made a huge mistake. So, Peter, we invited you on a couple weeks ago after you posted that you wanted to talk about the Traitors on a podcast. And we were like, this is our moment. What was that specifically about? Did you have any grand theories or like overarching takes on the season so far that you wanted to air out? Like, any thoughts on how things have been going?
I do have thoughts. That wasn't really what was happening. What was happening was that I was watching with my wife, and then we'll talk about it. And then I was getting fed TikToks about it where people were sharing their opinions. And I've been publicly sharing my opinions on podcasts for so long that it starts to actually piss me off when I can't talk back, when it's like, I don't really agree with this, but I don't have a platform. And so that's what was happening. I was sort of demanding a platform so I could talk over all of the other people who were sharing their opinions about the Traitors.
Isn't that why any of us podcast?
Yeah.
It's the whole point. It's the whole point. Yeah. Yeah. I do have thoughts. My big picture on this season, I kind of feel like it's a return to like season 1 Traitors, which I think was sort of defined by no one knowing how to play the game and everyone being like very incompetent. And there was this dynamic that always played out in season 1 where at the round table, someone would accuse someone else and then everyone would gang up on the accuser and be like, you're actually being a little too loud and accusatory. I think you're a traitor. Which was never correct, but they did it like 5 times in a row. And then I thought like the meta evolved the last couple seasons where the faithfuls were getting really good and sort of adjusting a bit. And like, Pilot Pete was very good as a faithful. And
I know.
And it seemed like production was trying to introduce different mechanics to sort of mess with that a little bit and just alter the dynamics. But I don't know that they needed to, because we've returned to just like incompetence, which I think is beautiful. I think it's what I want to see.
No, same. You don't want people to be too effective. It
No,
kind
I
of
like when
ruins
they
the fun.
try a little strategy and it works one time and then we return to utter chaos.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I also like when they try a strategy and it fails and then they keep going. That's happened multiple times
You
this
got to
season.
double
Yeah.
down, you
No,
know?
that's the thing about always accusing the person who is talking at the round table. It's like, well, you did this last time and they weren't a traitor,
Right.
so maybe start to like puzzle piece this together a little bit.
Right.
So we wanted to catch up just briefly on some of the chatter from the cast in the past week because they're just like out there talking so much about what's happening and like defending their decisions. Candace went on Watch What Happens Live and responded to a fan questioning her strategy of voting for Rob at the round table. She's like, it wasn't a bad decision. Rob was actually acting very suspicious by suddenly going so hard for Lisa at the round table and he's been so quiet. And so it made a lot of sense. And I was like, did it make a lot of sense?
No.
No. And it clearly didn't, right? It
Yeah.
backfired pretty spectacularly. And I do feel like she kind of got caught in this today in the latest episode, but like the whole thing where it's like it's a throwaway vote, but also I'm suspicious of him, it just never quite made any real sense.
No, the problem is if it was a throwaway vote, it needed to really be a throwaway vote, but it wasn't. It was a petty vote, which as a person who enjoys watching people be petty on television and was annoyed with Rob, I did enjoy. But was it good gameplay? Absolutely not, as we will see
Yeah, you
play
can't
out in this
direct
episode.
you can't direct a throwaway vote at someone that you actually are
Suspect.
gunning for because then it's clearly not random. Then also Ron Funches went on viewer discretion and spoke a little bit more about his whole backstory with Dorinda, which is only relevant to me because Dorinda is still on the show. And I'm just like, every time she's on camera now, I'm side-eyeing her. But basically, he says that before the blow up at the round table, she was continually coming at him at the round table for off-camera downtime, like behavior interactions that were very personal. And she was trying to like paint him as untrustworthy as a person. And the producers kept asking her to stop. And they were like, we can't use any of this. Like, this isn't going to make the edit. And she wouldn't stop. And finally, he was just like, I don't trust you. You're clearly like racist. Like, I'm not going to say that, but like clearly. And I'm not going to talk to you about my family because you're like a dangerous person. I'm like, it kind of sucks like that none of that made the edit, but I guess they were in a bind where it was relevant that he blew up at her, but they couldn't use any of the reasons why. But it still seems like they ended up setting him up a little bit.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get why we can't see a little bit of that, right?
Right.
Right.
I understand that like that's not what they want it to be about, but to me it's interesting, right? If it's like too heavy and weird and they're like maybe this is racist, maybe that's what they're trying to avoid, is just making it seem like a dark place as opposed to this fun campy game that we're all playing. But just show us a little bit, give us like a little bit of narrative flow.
Well, exactly. Give us a little context or else just cut the whole thing and don't tell us that they
Yeah.
even had a conflict. I mean, I
Yeah.
do wonder if we're going to get into this more explicitly at the reunion.
Presumably,
Presumably,
they
we'll
like
see.
to save that sort of thing for the reunion. It is just like we saw this with The Bachelor historically too, that some shows really want to control the whole universe of what you see on screen and they don't want to show any fourth wall breaking. But then what The Bachelor figured out is that people are intoxicated by the fourth wall breaking and they
Right.
love it. So like if you can do it judiciously, it's not a bad idea, I think. All right, let's dive into the recap.
So much happened. So much happened. R.I.P. Candace. You played,
Spoiler.
Spoiler.
Her fate was sealed from that vote at the round table. But we
Yeah.
start with Candace and Rob in the turret. And Rob turns to Candace and accurately says, "You seem pretty mad at me." And he explains that he feels bad about Lisa as a person voting for her, but as a player, she had to go, and he couldn't protect her. And then he calls her out for doing a vote for him, and she's like, it was a throwaway vote. It's like, Candace, you're not going to convince him that you're not mad at him after you did that vote.
I just think these two were not open to reconciling.
Yeah. It felt like maybe there's a distant universe where they're like, look, bygones, right? We shouldn't do this traitor on traitor thing. It never works out. It always backfires. Let's just strategize. It does seem like maybe Rob was like gesturing toward it by letting her do the murder. But it doesn't like I don't
think he
it
was
doesn't
setting
actually
her
seem
up.
like I kind of think he might have been setting her up as well. But I sort of wonder whether he was like, maybe this placates her a bit.
I think that the truth is that either of them, if the other one had come and been like, I really want to make an overture to you, let's not do this, let's stay in alliance, probably would have been open to it. But they just don't trust each other
Yeah,
at this
there's
point.
no trust.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if Candace wanted to do that, she would have had to first own up to the fact that she voted for him because she was mad at him. But if she's not doing that, that's a strong signal that she doesn't want to actually fix things. But meanwhile, she's saying, I just have to like play it cool, make it seem like we're still good because like revenge is a dish best served cold. And I'm like, Candace, no, he knows.
You both know.
Right.
You
like
both
it's too
know.
late.
It's done.
She loved the revenge served cold metaphor, and I don't know where she was going with it
Yeah,
throughout the episode.
I have the quote. She said, "A careful assassin serves her revenge cold. So right now I'm putting my platter in a good old deep freezer. And when the time is right, I will pull it out and serve it."
You already did it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, she pulled it hot out of the oven.
Yeah,
And then
look.
was like, nope, but the leftovers are going in the freezer.
I've just
so.
been loving watching Candace on this season. So my heart just immediately sank. I was like, she is screwed, and I am just a little bummed about it.
Yeah. Alan comes in and says that he can sense some awkwardness, but putting that aside, you guys have to work together to decide whether to murder a faithful or recruit, or I think he says like seduce. And then they immediately both just say seduce a million times. And I was like, I'm confused about what kind of show I'm on. They're like, I don't think that we should seduce tonight. Rob makes a point to say that he doesn't want to vote out any more traitors, like as if to be like, olive branch. It's going to be the two of us going forward. And Candace is like, so don't piss them off. Olive branch slightly rejected. They decide instead to murder. Stephen, Natalie, and Colton are all thrown out as options, but Rob says he doesn't want to kill Colton, his bestie.
And by the way, I mean, spoiler, I guess, they choose Colton, and I feel like I feel like this was kind of crazy, mostly because, like, obviously it benefited Rob in the sense that he was looking to frame Candace, but big picture, there are only so many people with suspicion on them, and murdering one of them just never sits well with me.
Yeah, I think that Candace attributed too much strength to Colton as an asset for Rob. Like, Rob himself has way more trust than Colton.
That's the thing.
And Colton is loud, but I don't think that he is more beneficial to Rob for the most part than just Rob working his other alliances, which he has so many of.
Yeah. And which you see a ton of this episode. I think more than any other so far, that like Rob just has these deep connections all throughout the castle, and he's working them all the time. And Colton, is just sort of like a loudmouth who was there and wanted to look like he had that level of influence, but actually didn't.
And if she wants to put suspicion on Rob, killing his best friend is certainly not the way to do it.
Who's going to seem the least likely to murder Colton?
Right.
Rob.
Yeah, I think Candace was maybe already a little boxed in, and so she started very quickly trying to make a lot of moves to combat that, and they were the wrong moves.
I also do think that if Rob had told her that Colton had thrown her name out, she would not have pushed to murder Colton.
Right.
Yeah. But like, obviously they're not working together anymore.
Well, right.
So,
No, I think it was
yeah.
actually a very smart gameplay move for Rob to withhold that information and then allow Candace to murder Colton, because her name is obviously connected to Colton's, even though she doesn't realize. So the next morning at breakfast, Tara, Eric, Johnny, and Maura are the first in. And they're like, okay, do we think someone got murdered? Did someone get recruited? They're also starting to all get paranoid. They're like, the traitors have to be someone we like because we kind of like everyone who's
Even
left.
Colton, like, I find that hard to believe.
No, they don't like Colton.
I'm like, he's right there. Like, he's still available. Well, until the end of breakfast. Yeah, they're all feeling pretty defeated. They're like, we've gotten out the people that we thought were obvious, or we have banished them and they turned out to be faithful. So now where do we go from here? Dorinda is feeling especially defeated because one of her fellow housewives was a traitor and they were so close. It was like they're just on a girls' trip together. At breakfast, Maura throws out Candace's name and says she found the throwaway vote suspicious. She and Colton were talking about it earlier.
I was like, Maura, Colton fed this to you and now you are parroting it to everyone else.
This could be Maura's first theory. That's very exciting. Maybe she told Colton.
We saw it.
Yeah,
She
we
didn't.
saw it. But she does bring up something that I was thinking would really work against Candace, which is Candace made a big point of how consistently she was going to vote with Ron and with Donna from the beginning. And she did that until they got out. So why is she suddenly doing a throwaway vote? It's not consistent with her voting behavior.
Yes.
A huge part of the game is just like, don't do something weird, you know?
Exactly.
Don't do something weird at any point.
Don't kiss someone on the cheek. Don't do a random throwaway vote. Don't get loud when you've been quiet. Stay even.
And Johnny hates hearing this because Candace is his good friend in the show. And he's like, no, I don't think it's that. Candace is my buddy. She could never be performative. I'm sure that was for perfectly valid reasons. And when Candace comes in, she explains that her vote was just a true throwaway because she knew no one would vote for Rob. And it was nothing, there's nothing weird about that at all. I'm like, okay, but that's what you would say, right? Johnny and Kristen are still suspicious of Colton. Not that many people left who have done a lot of suspicious things, so Colton's got to be up on the list. But last to breakfast are Steven, Rob, and Natalie, which means Colton is the one who was murdered, as we learned earlier. But in the show, it's a flashback. We were waiting to find out. And in the flashback, we see Candace making this hard sell for Colton. She's like, he's loud, he's messy, he's dangerous. We need to take out their king. But like, those are some of the reasons that it's kind of good for him to be in the game. Because he is a mess. He was about to gun for Steven to go home.
I know. You needed to let him just do his thing until everyone decided to banish him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the more I think about it, the more I like it for Rob, because at some point Colton gets banished because everyone's just sick of it. And then who's remaining, right? Maybe Rob looks a little weird after that. Maybe he's sticking out a little bit more than he was. But this way, Colton gets murdered. Rob's sort of just standing there looking shell-shocked.
He's so sad.
He's sad,
Right.
which Candace tries to play against him, which doesn't even make sense. He drops his fork at the breakfast, and Candace is like, I'll use that later.
Right. That is one thing that people are always going to point back to as like, would Rob have done that? If Rob was in the turret, then Colton would not have been murdered. Right. And instead, he just kind of, he stands back. He's like, I'm going to let you do this murder. Clearly, he's like, this way, I'm not actually murdering my friend. I'm kind of letting her do it. But in fact, it works so much better for his game than for Candace's.
It is amazing for his game. It points to Candace without him having to do any work. And it really shields him because that's his bro.
Yeah.
And can we pour one out for Colton, folks? I mean, I know that this is controversial, but I have enjoyed this season the presence of what I would call like the true scumbag, which I feel like such a throwback to the aughts, like the early reality TV where there's someone on your television, not who is like annoying or like not my favorite, but like absolutely awful person, horrific human being, and you're just like, get them off my screen.
And we
I
got
missed
two
that.
of them
We
on
got
this
two
season.
of them. We got
Yeah.
two of them, and now there's no one left, and I'm a little bit sad. Sorry.
Well, no, the
Yeah.
problem is now you just kind of like feel bad no matter who's sent home. Because you're like, I
Right.
kind of like these people.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I hate to say it because I don't like to platform terrible men, but did I watch every episode of The Valley? You know, yes, I did. So like it's like you're watching the worst people in the world in a controlled environment and kind of just like dissecting them. There's
And
an
you're
appeal.
like, as long as they get their just desserts at some point,
Right.
I will feel okay.
Right. It reminds me of watching early seasons of Survivor. I'm a big Survivor person. And in the early seasons, it was before people understood reality television and like thought about how they would come across on television. And people were just like so expressly racist and sexist and like transphobic. Like the stuff that came out of people's mouths was insane. And they almost never won or like had a ton of success. So like you knew eventually that they were going to lose. And the build up to that moment was always the best part. In my mind, in my personal
Yeah.
opinion.
No, I get that. It's a balance, you know. It's a balance on how you deal with these
Well-
like genuinely terrible reality
Right.
villains. But we've been following Colton for a long time because we're originally a Bachelor podcast,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
so we really went through all of his
We've been on such a
his
journey.
arcs in real time, and we're always just like, wait, why is he back? Do you know he hosted a reality dating show for virgins last year?
It was
And we were just like,
bad.
why
I'm
is
sorry. Hold on.
Yes,
We can't fly
yes.
past it. This was my first exposure to Colton. My wife gave me a little bit of color, and I've read a bunch since. But you have to fill me in on the dating
Well,
show
this
for
was
virgins.
recent. We were just like, again, why are you giving this man this opportunity? He co-hosted with another former Bachelor lead, Caitlin Bristow,
Mhm.
a dating show literally for virgins, and they branded everything with virginity. Like the elimination ceremonies were called the Virgin Sacrifice.
Yeah. And it was called Are You My First? So the purpose of the show is to find someone that you could have sex with.
But
for the
none
Okay.
of
first
them
time.
boned. It was pretty.
No one gets
horrible.
laid.
No one gets laid. But then one
my
of the
God.
winners that later came out actually wasn't a virgin. And he had just gone on the show, to try to scam some like hot virgin
Oh.
into
See,
kind of-
that's the kind of guy I want to see more of on TV.
Anyway, so Colton's had many lives. He's had many lives in reality TV if you want to go back in the archives.
I've enjoyed him trying to dress well. I feel like he's like, you can tell he's freshly out because like he's dressing like a straight guy, but he's like, I
Well.
gotta do it. Like he put on the crown at the banquet, and you're like, I don't, Colton. That's not
He
working.
spent
You can't
most
do
of
that.
his life, as he'll tell you, in the locker room.
Yeah, I
Right,
don't know if
right.
you heard about the part of his backstory where he played football for 17 years.
Yeah, I
It
don't know
doesn't
if you're
come up a
aware.
lot.
I have heard of that part. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think that's more of an influence on his sort of
Yeah.
fashion sense. Colton says in his exit interview that Candace's gameplay with that vote was sloppy, and I hate to agree with Colton, but he was right.
Sometimes
That
he
is the
gets it
death
right.
knell. Candace tells us that the point of the murder was to cut the alliance between Rob and Colton. Again, I just don't think that was the thing to prioritize at the top of the list. She's worried that Rob would have had Colton float her name like he did with Lisa. But this is worse. Rob says that he let Candace do it because it's like that Mark Twain quote. It ain't the things you don't know that hurt you. It's the things you think you know for sure. Now, as a former books editor, I just want to caution Rob that about 90% of pithy Mark Twain quotes you encounter are fake or misattributed, including, as far as I can find out, this one. It's not real. So pretty sure he encountered that in the beginning of the movie The Big Short, where it appears.
Where all the biggest Mark Twain fans go.
My favorite Mark Twain quote from recent big blockbuster movies.
Classic dude insight movie. He's getting all his life lessons from The Big Short.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I mean,
Rob
there are
is
worse
just
places.
a rational actor. Okay? There's no emotion guiding him.
No, it's true.
No, he's all up here. He's all
Yeah.
up here.
In the old noggin.
The male brain. Rob points out that killing Colton will draw a line to Candace because Colton has floated her name.
Ding, ding, ding. He is
yeah.
correct about that.
They all, after breakfast, find out about the challenge, which Alan Cumming hints to them will involve painting a picture, which is just an opportunity for everyone to be like, I bet Rob is a really good painter. He can do everything.
Fucking Renaissance man over here.
It's just like the backstory is someone heard from Rob once that he can paint. I'm like,
He didn't deny it. He wasn't like, no, I can't. He was like, yeah.
They were like, look at that face. How could he not be a brilliant painter?
Right. Every
Yeah.
talking head, he gets like a little more smug. Like he's obviously very good at the game. He's good at reading people. He was able to clock like Natalie lying in the last episode in a pretty astoundingly good way. But it's getting to his head too early. And like this is what I feel will ultimately unravel him. Is he's just feeling himself way too much right now.
Yeah. And everyone in the house is like committed to making him even more full of himself. Like they just like never tire of finding ways to feed his
And
ego.
this is why I'm starting to turn on him as someone
Yeah.
who has really enjoyed Rob, both on
No.
this show and on Love Island.
We started the season with a big crush on Rob, and it's like, wow, you can never have a crush on a man. It's always a
No.
mistake.
Then they get smug, and you have to cut off your crush right at the head.
He's in 5 years, Rob might be a very composed young man, but he's like 27. You know, like you can't give a 27-year-old this level of praise, and show him this much success, and just have him sit there and be humble and normal. You know.
Yeah.
It's
He
not gonna
needs to be he needs to be humbled by life. He needs.
Yeah, something needs to go wrong, like very wrong for him.
On that note, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, the rest of this episode of The Traitors.
And we are back. After breakfast, Candace starts flailing about, trying to put some sort of incoherent plan into motion. She wants to start drawing attention to people that no one has ever thought about, like maybe Rob. Meanwhile, Kristen is shook by the Colton murder because she's like, I thought it was Colton, and now my instincts are all wrong. And it's so interesting that when the women get something wrong, they sit back and they're like, wow, all my instincts are wrong, and I probably know nothing at all.
I'm really dumb at this game. I wonder if there's a man I can listen to. And the men are all just like, well, the fact that I was wrong 3 times in a row only shows that I need to get out there and work harder to convince people to listen to me.
I do
Whip
feel
some
like
more
you might be
votes.
giving too much credit to like Dorinda and with this categorization. But
Yeah.
I think I mean, yeah, we haven't. Kristen, just a level of humbleness and introspection that is frankly very, very unheard of on this season of The Traitors in particular, where it's like, are we about to make the same mistake again? No, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll
Yeah.
rethink how I'm analyzing. Also, Kristen, can I add, I needed to say this at some point. Everyone else looks like they're getting like their campiest outfits out of the costume box. And Kristen is just like dripping in her stylist best, like just perfectly tailored pantsuits. It's
so
phenomenal.
good.
She's very elegant. She's always looking elegant. And
That's
then
why I'm
Johnny is
like,
like, I'm
Kristen.
wearing a mint green bubble knit turtleneck with black gloves
Well,
with
I
netting
think
on
that
them.
both
And I'm like, these are the
Kristen-
2 paths.
Kristen and Johnny are both actually staying quite true to their personal style.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I'm so excited to see Johnny's Olympics attire after this. I mean, there's so much to look forward to. So she's now wondering, like, is my buddy Mark a traitor? Like, what's happening? Johnny and Tara are also reeling. I mean, Candace is like, let's turn the board upside down. But what she did is like, everyone was maybe going to gun for Colton, and now they can't.
Mhm.
And so they're like, maybe it's someone we really never suspected, like Candace. Tara is like, I'm terrible at this. My instincts are all off. I keep going after Natalie and no one else is. So I'm clearly just wrong. Like, if everyone disagrees with me, I'm obviously wrong. Again, the humility.
Yeah.
And then Johnny's like, what about Steven? And she's like, great, I should listen to you because I don't know. The remaining 5 of the like Dagger Alliance plus Eric, who I guess has been drafted to take Colton's place, they have a meeting and Steven is like, I love math and statistics. So I want to be in an alliance with Rob because he has 2 votes, and that's actually an advantage.
And that
Classic
requires
math.
some really, really sophisticated math skills.
Yeah. I didn't do AP Calc, so I don't know if he's right.
Mm,
Maybe.
Same.
that's true.
Same. I don't know math, so I guess I have to trust Steven as the
Yeah.
math whiz.
It's a complex
2 votes
equation.
are better than
This
1.
is the advantage of the male brain in these
Yeah.
games.
You can be rational about these things. Like
You can
other
do this
people
level
might
of
not notice.
analysis. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stephen
Yeah,
Hawking
exactly.
over there.
Eric is like, I'm suspicious of Candace, and soon everyone will be saying that.
Mhm.
Natalie and Mark think that it's very odd that she was so consistent and then threw her vote away from Natalie at the last minute. And of course, it worked out for Natalie, but that also means Natalie was paying a lot of attention to where Candace's vote was going.
Yeah.
Rob then puts the nail in Candace's proverbial coffin because the last thing that Colton said to him the night before was that Candace was a traitor. And he is ready to start like sharing that information. He's like, I hadn't planned to vote for Candace or say her name, but that's where the winds are blowing. So now I am.
They had a little montage almost of Candace and Rob going at each other, and it's just so clear that Rob is really good at it and Candace is really not. Rob waits for someone else to say her name, and then he's like, you know what? Colton mentioned her right before getting murdered. Candace is like sitting people down and being like, Rob looked weird at breakfast. Dropped a fork? What's that about? Like, isn't that a
Yeah.
traitor thing to do?
Yeah, it's just like Rob has more to go off of, and he also
I mean,
has
he's
more
in a better
information.
position.
Yeah.
She needs to be playing it cool at this stage and maybe pretending to play nice with Rob. But I think in her mind, she's like, he's coming right at me right now. I need to make moves.
I also
Yeah.
started to think, at least halfway through this episode, that Candace just knew it was her time, and her objective shifted from save myself to implicate Rob on my way out.
I mean, she almost makes it explicit at the end of the episode, where she's sort of
Yeah.
like, sucks that I'm out, but the good news is that Rob might be out soon too.
Yeah, she's just happy to take him down with her. She really like sits Kristen and Johnny down. She's like, he dropped his fork at breakfast. Suspicious much? And like the problem is no one else was going to float Rob's name. So
Right.
like Rob has very quickly latched on to Lisa and Candace being floated in ways that are subtle, but she doesn't have that luxury because Rob is never going to be named because literally everyone thinks he's such a sweet baby angel for some reason.
No, Kristen
None of them watched
literally
Love
says
Island.
it. Literally says it later. Like, that sweet, sweet man simply could not be
Yeah.
a traitor, which is
Yeah.
incredible logic. If
But
you're a
it was-
nice man, you can't be a traitor.
This happens all the time where people are like, I'm not getting like traitor vibes from their personality. And I'm like at home, like production picks them. What are you
Right.
talking about?
Right. Half the time people go in and are like, please make me a traitor. And production is like, no.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And like I think they've all figured out at this point that as a trader you get more dedicated screen time and attention,
Mhm.
and it's good to be a trader. They all want to be traders now, and like only a few of them can get picked, and then they immediately turn around and start acting like, well, the people who seem suspicious and kind of scummy are probably traders, but people I like who are my friends, like Alan would never pick them.
Right.
So it's time for the challenge. They have to split into 2 teams. One team of 8 will stay at the castle, and the other 3 will go with Alan to a gallery, which is like an old room full of old paintings. And the team of 8 will split into 2 teams to recreate paintings. They're going to do like a pantomime, like
Mhm.
recreation of paintings based only on descriptions from plaques. And then they have to take a photograph of their recreation, send it to the team at the gallery. They have to find the actual painting based on that reenactment. But only the 3 people who are going to the gallery will have the opportunity to get a shield. So this turns into a way for everyone to kind of pick who they think should get a shield.
Mhm.
And they're all like, Rob, we're so worried about you. We love you.
We're sorry that Candace was mean to you. We're not going to think about that at all. But if you want to feel safe tonight.
It's probably because she's a bitch and you're such a nice man.
Candace is like, everybody just like wants to drink Rob's bathwater because he's such a faithful.
It's true.
Candace is mad about this. She's not thinking rationally and being like, I should
Yeah.
not go at Rob in this moment. But she is correctly clocking that everyone is irrationally into Rob right now.
No,
Yes.
everyone has a crush on Rob. Like,
Yeah.
And
they
I
could
get
be
it.
a straight man. They
He's
can
wearing
be
these
a gay
stupid
woman.
sweater vests.
They're-
Like, I get it, you know?
You can't even wear a sweater vest like that unless you are a sort of like mind-bogglingly hot and charming young
Right.
man.
Right.
You know?
If anyone a 7 or below puts that on, you're like, what are you doing?
You're like, ugh, ick.
disgusting.
Automatic ick.
Disgusting. You need to be TV beautiful to pull off what he's pulling off on, and unfortunately, he sort of is.
No,
it's-
he is.
it's-
He is. He is like kryptonite. He is just that amount of softness. He's very gorgeous, but he's quiet.
Mhm.
And everyone's just like, wow, Rob, I want to spend a little
No.
more time in his glow.
He has that aura that like you're tricked into thinking that like that other people don't notice how hot and cool he
Right,
is.
right.
And it's like, no, everyone has that relationship.
No,
with
that's why he's
him.
the perfect rom-com hero, because he's like, he's secret hot, except it's obvious.
Right.
Yeah.
And so everyone in the house just wants to have some of that shine on him, even if they're not like gonna date. Like Maura's obviously just like trying to get with him.
Mhm.
But even all the others are just like, I just want to be close to Rob. I just want Rob to smile at me. Like
Yeah.
I just want to like brush against
Rob, I'll
his
just Venmo you
snake tattoo.
$250,000. Why do we have to do this
Yeah.
whole thing?
Pack it all in now.
But ultimately, he does get nominated to go to the gallery. Also, Mark and Kristen. And they set off to do the challenge. For each correctly identified painting, they will add $3,000 to the prize pot. Steven nominates himself as art director for his crew, his very unsuccessful crew of recreators.
Interesting how confident he was going in. He was like, "Look, I've done some directing. You know, he's like pointing, like,
He's
no,
like-
a little to the left. Watch the facial expressions. That's too much."
Talk about a renaissance man. Like he loves math. He loves storytelling. He loves photography.
This
Like he
is so
How
dabbles.
can
funny.
he be beaten in this game when he's so diverse in his skill set? You know,
Yeah, he's wasted on this game, truly.
He really
And-
is. I'm just saying, though, the gallery team missed the fact that there were udders being milked.
I
In the
love
fir-
what
I'm
the-
like,
We keep cutting back to Rob being like, I don't know. The way that Eric's head is like wrapped up on the woman's lap, like she's holding a baby, maybe that's a severed pig's head?
yeah, maybe
It's
it's a
like,
severed
Rob,
pig's head.
Does
I-
Rob not want to win a large prize? Like what?
This whole thing leads to what I think is my line of the episode, where they get the painting wrong, and then it cuts to Eric saying like, "I ate grass." Like I was pretending to be a cow and I ate grass,
yeah, he's
and they
like,
still
I
didn't
put
get it.
allergens into my body.
Allergens into my body is a great way to describe eating grass.
He was really committed. He was really committed to the bit. And Steven like got those performances out of them, and then they weren't even in Oscar contention. It's just really devastating.
Right. It was sad. It just begging for an Oscar and just getting shut out at noms.
Snubbed.
Yeah, it
Snubbed
was
at
like,
every
it's-
turn.
This is like the room of the traitors. They're just like, you're trying hard, but it's just not landing.
I was happy though for Tara on the other team, who was like, finally, I am enjoying and thriving at a challenge.
And you guys were complaining about the masculinity-oriented challenges, and now we have one
Yes.
for art history nerds,
One
right?
for
Yeah.
the ladies. I
And
was
I
like,
love
thank
it.
you. I was gonna say, like, finally one that isn't like, well, obviously a 6'5" man has to do most of this.
Right.
The other team is more successful with getting their portraits identified. They do put like $12,000 or something into the prize pot. Kristen finds a shield in the gallery. And after the challenge, they regroup and chat about who they want to banish at the round table. Natalie and Maura agree that they're gunning for Candiace. Mark and Kristen have a conversation where they're like, there must be a man in the turret, because so far we've only gotten lady traitors. And I do see the logic here. Like, there's pretty much always at least one man and one woman in the turret. That doesn't mean that that will always be the case.
Are we going to
But
skip over Johnny's theory?
no, that's
No,
next.
no, we will not.
Just checking.
Then Eric throws out Candace's name to Johnny, and Johnny's like, well, Colton brought up Steven as well. And then he says, I feel some boy energy. I can't imagine Lisa strategizing. So who is strategizing?
It's gotta be a
Ladies,
boy.
they can't be strategizing.
It's
They
not.
don't
Look,
do that.
it's a turret, not a vanity. All right. I mean, this is one of the craziest things. It's basically expressed. I was like, is there a way to take this besides saying that he's saying that women can't strategize?
Certainly not. That's the only way you can take it. I was like, Johnny, even you, like, we're gonna do the overt sexism.
I was like,
Okay.
this would have had to be cut to high hell to mean anything else.
Right.
If you put those sentences together, the implication is very clear. I was like, Johnny, one of the other people still in the castle is like a multiple season of Survivor winning woman. So, like,
And what? Also, just a misread of Rinna, right? Like the idea that she
Right.
couldn't strategize. What are you talking about? I
Yeah,
don't get it.
please.
No, well, this is
please. Lisa
the-
Rinna can strategize.
this is like the thought process they all have about the housewives on some level, which is like they are hot and dramatic and they love to get in loud fights, and that's like it.
Right. And this makes me feel like, again, it's like these folks haven't watched previous seasons of The Traitors. It feels like none of the lessons were learned. And one of those lessons is the housewives are pretty good. The housewives are pretty good at this.
Yeah. Phaedra, come on.
Right. Right.
I didn't watch season 1 of The Traitors. So it's interesting you say this is sort of like the first season, because I felt like last season they were really chasing the storyline of the season before. Like sometimes they're like, oh, well, this is what happened last season. I bet it's happening again.
Mhm.
And this season does not feel like that. It does feel like there's but like for better or for worse, like they're not chasing the traitors that were the traitors last season, but they seem uninformed about
Right.
past
This one
seasons.
mirrors season 1 a little bit in my mind. Season 1 is very distinct because it was sort of half normies, half regular people.
Right.
And the storyline of that season was Cirie from Survivor just running absolute fucking circles around these schmucks, just playing them all for fools, which I think the production watched that and was like, this is like too humiliating for these people. We need to just have it all be like, reality show folks. But I do think you're seeing a lot of like the initial lessons of season 1, which were learned in season 2 and 3, just sort of like fade from memory a little bit.
I
Yeah.
also feel like a lot of these people have not really watched Housewives, because if you
Right.
don't understand that being on the Housewives for multiple seasons requires social strategy, then you have like misread the entire
Right.
franchise.
I think it was Monet who initially clocked Rinna, right? Who was sort of like, this isn't what she is like, right? That she's like way quieter. And I think that was news to some people, right? I think that was like a lot of people were just like, huh, is that so? Which, makes me feel like these folks just don't understand the housewives at all. They don't understand what they're dealing with.
Yeah. No, they definitely don't. And that's what Colton latched on to a little bit. Unfortunately, he was right on that, in that sense.
He was wrong about things like Steven and like half the other people.
Yeah, I was
but
wrong about a lot of other
I
things.
mean, he was wrong all the time. Let's be honest. This real broken clock stuff coming from Colton, right?
Yeah.
But like, I mean, he was also just as confident when he was right and wrong, and
Well, yeah.
never learned any lessons. He wasn't like, maybe I'm thinking about it wrong, right? He just went right back to it. He's like, swung and missed that time, but
On to the
round
next,
2, baby.
'cause I'm
Let's
definitely
go.
right this time.
Some important context on Colton is that he actually played football for 17 years. And you can't think about that last interception.
Right.
You got to get back out there. You can't think about that missed block, like every snap you're playing. Like,
I would
it's
also think
the
that you
first
don't
one.
run the same play over and over again. Maybe that's why he never went pro,
It's that's a good point as well. I'll take that under advisement. Johnny and Eric are like, interesting. Strategy in the turret, gotta be a man. Steven, he's so under the radar that he might be a great traitor. And
that man clearly has the mind for strategy.
He knew that two was
knows
greater
math.
than one.
by the end of this episode, it feels like all the dudes are just looking around at each other like, man, one of these super smart dudes belongs in the turret. And they
Right.
don't even like see the women anymore. They're like, they're not here. Like they're accessories. Johnny does go to warn Candace that her name is being thrown around because they're buds. And she's like, great, so I can be prepared going in. Dorinda tells Maura and Tara that she is feeling suspicious of Candace and Steven. She points out that Lisa put her gold from the previous day's challenge into Steven's chest, even though they weren't close. And this makes her suspicious. Then Candace has a private conference with Steven and asks Dorinda and Johnny not to join them.
Another bad move.
Not sure why, but she probably doesn't know that they are both being floated as traitors
No.
right now. And Steven tells Candace that Colton was throwing her name out the night before, which is the first time that she is hearing this. And she's like, oh my God, I've been set up because obviously
Rob knew this.
Rob knew this, and now I have drawn an arrow directly to myself by murdering him. She also believes that he has been like using Colton to float her name because like that this was essentially coming from Rob when Colton was saying her name. And she brings this up to Steven. It's like, I think that Colton was doing this on Rob's behalf and that they were like working together. Rob then comes in and asks Candace to have a private chat with him. I feel like initially, like, it's very like we can never be seen talking together. And we've reached the point in the game where the two traitors are just like, hey, private talk, everyone out.
Yeah, it's like I was wondering if like production was keeping people away. They were like,
yeah, I was like, is
Right.
no one suspicious of this?
They're in a public space being like, well, when we murdered that one,
Yeah.
that was obviously going to be pretty suspicious for me. As traitors, we really should. I was like, guys, this seems a little unwise. So they talk pretty loudly and openly about their decisions and working together as traitors, and that seems to not cause any issues for them. She's like, I'm hearing that you said my name, or that people are saying my name. Where's that coming from? And he says he's heard her name from almost everyone, which does seem true. He says he's not going to push for her at the round table. And she's like, well, I think you already have. She also asks him about Colton putting her name out there the night before. And he lies and says he just heard about it this morning. And Candace gives him a very skeptical look because she's not stupid.
Colton told everyone except for his number one ally.
Yeah.
And he's like, so you don't trust me. Emma, you sent me a clip of him breaking up with Leah on Love Island this morning, and I was really struck by how similar these scenes are, where he comes to Leah like crying and is like, I feel like you just don't trust me. And then he's like, anyway, you don't care about my feelings, and I don't think we're right for each other. And it's like, wait.
Yes, this is the thing. Rob does this thing where he's like, women are irrational and they don't listen to me enough. And it is very consistent in the way that he interacts with women on this show and on Love Island.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the whole like, I'm going to soft launch me ending our relationship or our working relationship by pointing out that you don't trust me.
You're making this impossible for me.
Yeah.
Right. No, he always comes in seeming like, oh, I'm trying to work things out with you.
Right.
But somehow then initiates the end of the relationship.
I'm getting all this hostility from
Yeah, I
you.
don't
Like,
know
what's
where
that
it's coming
about?
from?
And what's interesting about this is I don't want to say I blame Candace for this, but I feel like maybe there's a world where if you go back 2 episodes, Rob and Candace huddle up and they're like, Lisa's cooked, right? We have
Yes.
we have to accept this and think about what we're going to do moving forward. I don't know if Rob had it in him to roll the dice with Candace like that. I'm almost positive it wouldn't have worked if he had, but like that was the moment, right? And ever since then, it's just like one of us has to go. It's over, and I think they
Yeah,
both
they got
realize
themselves
it here.
into a position where it was going to be the two of them going against each other. There was no way to roll that back. I blame both of them for the deterioration of that relationship, but it was point of no return. And like Rob definitely has made some very smart moves in this game. I'm definitely not trying to like not give him the credit where it's due. But I think we just have seen some things over the last couple episodes that feel very telling to me about the way that he views women.
I think that even aside from the gender dynamics, which I have no interest in exploring as the straight male on this podcast.
Well, you came to the right place.
I do think that he goes into the whole Lisa situation not fully comprehending that you're gonna have to deal with Candace here, right? She's a whole other player here, and she's gonna be very unhappy with what you're doing. And if you're doing it without her, then it's gonna come back at you.
Right.
And we haven't seen it play out, of course, at this stage, but it does feel like underestimating Candace could easily be what undoes him in this game. Just a little too cocky with respect to Candace.
Well, Emma and I were talking about this before, that just the show is such a fascinating stage play of how society works, which is you work hard and you're smart and that all matters, but also you can see how people's biases and prejudgments about each other and what different kinds of people are capable of tilt the scales this way and that way, the respect and deference you're given if you're a white man versus the lack of consideration or just respect that you're given if you're a woman or a person of color, those also factor in, and just certain things might break your way, whereas if you had made that decision and you were a woman, maybe that doesn't break your way because people don't give you the same level of credit. And I think there's a little bit of that in the Rob dynamic, where people are giving him so much credit and deference and respect that it does kind of, I think, paper over, at least so far, some of the cracks in his gameplay, which has been good. But like Candace, he has made some missteps, and so far people are just oh, but Rob, he's so great and smart and good at everything, and that's all we see. I don't know, he's starting to irritate me, but
there's only so much success that a straight white man can have before people start to get pissed off. People who are left-leaning, frankly.
People who are too woke.
People who are too woke, like you two.
I
understand the need for solidarity with a proud, strong white man.
And, that's beautiful. As a misandrist, I simply have to break for Candace.
I hear you. I mean, I think that Rob, the first time I started to get annoyed is when he really went at Lisa at the round table. I was like, this is way too cocky. If you just hold back, then maybe Lisa goes home and Candace isn't even mad at you. Or at least not that mad, right?
Right.
But yeah, there's his cockiness here, which is sort of well earned, but it overfloweth regardless.
Yeah, that's the thing. It is to an extent well earned. Things are breaking his way. He is continuing to accomplish everything that he sets out to accomplish each and every episode. So I'm I get why he's taking those lessons and being I should do more of this.
Right.
More of what I'm doing. Yeah. I do think, people look back and be the two times he made big dramatic speeches about people at the table, that was the two traitors. And interesting that.
Yeah, we're not quite there, but moving ahead a minute, his vote, he did the same thing with Lisa, where he was he gave a little preface on his vote, where he was, I don't know what he said about Candace, a beautiful, intelligent traitor, blah. It's someone at some point is going to be isn't it weird that he gave a flowery poem for both of the traitors before voting for them?
Right. It's it's interesting. It's not consistent, one might say.
Except that right now everyone is that's just because Rob is such a nice, sweet guy.
He is sort of a poet,
Yeah. But in conversation with Candace, he is not being quite so sweet right now. She's I just think we have different values. And he says, I feel like you're taking this very personally. It's a game.
Right. And she's it's a game and I hate you, dude.
I mean, Yeah, you're taking it very personally. Calm down. I don't know why you're being so hysterical.
Mhm.
Like, okay. She says, if I get banished tonight, your name is going to come up. And Rob is like, well, I think that's bad sportsmanship.
Yeah,
That is
yeah.
bad sportsmanship. There
All of a
are
sudden, it's
actually
not a
set of
game. All of a
values.
sudden, it's very personal. I will say, I do hate how many times this season values and stuff like that has come up, and just how like affected some people have been. And I watch Survivor, where like you're 50 seasons into Survivor, and like no one takes things personally anymore. Like you get backstabbed, and you're like, great play. You know, this was cool. Thanks for having me on, Jeff. And on Traitors, something about this game, even with a bunch of reality show people, I think it actually drives these people a little bit nuts. Like Jam Jam, who won Survivor, was straight up crying at one point because he thought that he might get banished or murdered. And it's like, well, bro, dude, you won $1 million on Survivor. You're basically fighting for scraps here. You guys might not even hit 250. Like, please, just take a breath. And I think Ron also mentioned his values and stuff on the way out. Although that
Yes.
might have been like related to Dorinda and what was happening behind the
Yeah.
scenes. But now you have Candace mentioning values, and I'm
I
sort
do
of like,
wonder
what's
if the
going on?
Candace thing is similar to Ron, where she's like, you don't take me and Lisa seriously.
Right.
You just want to hang out with your boys. Like, to me, that's what it signified, because that is what is pissing me off about Rob personally. So I'm like, maybe I'm just projecting that.
I thought it might
But
be like loyalty stuff, where she
there's
was
a
like,
way where
I
Rob
stuck
is
with the
very.
traitors.
The thing about Rob is that he is loyal to dudes, but to his teammates who are women, he is not.
Right.
And to me, I would be like, that's something that I question. Like, that isn't gameplay, right? That's you not wanting to vote for Ron, even though that is the smart gameplay move because he's your buddy. But you will vote for Lisa.
Right.
And I think that is part of what I thought was sloppy gameplay from Rob.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was like his first misstep, is the first Lisa vote. You can do it when it's overwhelming, right? But when
Yeah.
it's a tight vote, you just have to suck it up. Even if you're like, oh, it'd be better for my game if she's gone. I think that was his first mistake. And yeah, when it's Candace being like, I'm gonna blow up your game, like I think she was sort of saying, I know I'm going home, but like,
Yes.
you will be cooked in the next 3 votes or something like that, right? He's like, it's just a game. But yeah, that cuts both ways. You don't get to do this this weird thing where it's like, when you're doing it to me, it's outside the game and weird and personal, but when I'm doing it to you, it's just the game.
Exactly. If it's just a game, then you're just going home from a game. No big deal. Like, it's fine. So she's like, it is a game, but you're a snake, not a traitor.
Yeah.
And I think we should just do our own thing at this point.
Yeah. So they head into the round table, and it was clear to me that Candace knows she's done, and she's like, I'm just gonna do my thing while I can.
And at this point, like last week, I was like, don't do the petty vote that puts Rob's name out there. It just makes you look weird. But at this point, you're about to be exposed as a traitor. It's going to make Rob look real bad that you are so convinced that Rob is a traitor.
Maybe.
It should, if
Yeah.
anyone's paying any fucking attention, which I'm not convinced they are.
They're getting lost in those eyes, but they should. I mean, I am convinced that at some point, someone is going to think back to all of this and be like, that was weird, wasn't it? Wasn't it weird how Candace and Rob were just at each other's throats for 2 votes for no particular reason right after Lisa got voted out?
Right. Like,
Yeah.
the numbers
it should
will
raise some red
dwindle.
flags.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
I maintain hope. She's ready to try to take him down. She's like, if he wants to play dirty and foul, I'll get into the gutter. And meanwhile, Rob is preparing. He's like, I've dealt with a lot of conflict in my life. He's like, you learn how to work people. So my plan is to remain calm and bait Candace into getting worked up, because the
Yeah.
more you yell and the more passionate you are, the more guilty you look.
Unfortunately, he continues to navigate these like micro social situations incredibly well.
Yeah.
He
He's
knows how to
right.
play these dynamics very, very well. I don't think this will work out for him in the macro, but like at the round table, he did everything exactly right.
Yeah. No, that is accurate, and it's the right strategy, and it's just very unsettling to hear coming from an attractive
It
man. It's like,
It does start to feel psychopathic after a bit, right? Where it's like
Right.
you're too
Yeah.
like he's able to articulate these social dynamics. Like, I know a lot of like people who are just good socially and charming and all that, right? I don't think that they could perfectly articulate exactly how they get people on their side,
It's
but he's
cold.
doing it in
It's
a way
cold
that
and
makes me feel like he
detached.
thinks about it, which makes me feel like he's a psychopath.
Well, and it makes you
Exactly.
feel like if I were dating this guy, which is not something I think about, right? That would be crazy. But if I were, like he clearly is very aware of how to make me look like the bad guy, right? Like that comfort with being like, here's how I'm gonna make this woman look crazy is
Right.
something that does for me just like raise my hackles a little bit, even though he's like completely right, and that's the correct strategy.
Yeah, I mean, being right is what makes it weird. Like, everyone has like a little bit of leeway in my mind to be a little bit manipulative and annoying and like whatever. But when you're able to just like lay out your strategy for making someone look bad in like very clear, concise terms and then execute on that, now it's like, oh, are you a regular human being?
Yeah, no, it's with Colton. It was more like the funny thing where he was wrong a lot, so it wasn't as terrifying.
Right.
But Rob is actually just completely accurately describing what is going to go down. So the deliberations begin. Johnny starts us off by bringing up Steven's name. He's like, Colton told me to watch out for Steven. Dorinda also brings up that Lisa oddly gave a bunch of her gold to Steven. And she's like, why would she do that? I didn't realize you guys had any sort of relationship. And Steven's defense is that he just went up to Lisa and begged her for her gold.
He's like, I will trust you more if you let me win this challenge, which was, again, such a cool challenge for women. And I mean, honestly, that is more plausible to me than Lisa being like, I'll just give it to my fellow traitor. So I was like, fair enough.
Yeah.
Eric then throws out Candace's name and her weird throwaway vote. He's like, you were all about consistency until yesterday. You stayed on Donna, you stayed on Ron. Suddenly you came in planning to vote for Natalie and then you switched at the table. That's not how you play. And Candace claims that after Ron was a faithful, she had to reevaluate. She didn't see enough evidence for Lisa or Natalie. And Eric says, well, everyone else had enough to vote for Lisa. And so it's weird that you feel like there wasn't. And Candace says, no, coming into it, there was a consensus vote for Natalie led by Tara. And Tara's one of her allies.
So Tara's like, wait, why am I catching strays? I don't even know what I'm doing.
She's like, no, it was just a group choice. Like, I wasn't like coming for Natalie.
Which would be, I mean, well, Candace's argument might have worked if she had voted for Natalie. She was like, I was just going with what I thought was the consensus. But you can't be like, well, I didn't vote for Lisa because there was a consensus for Natalie, but you didn't vote for Natalie either. That's just,
well, that's the thing. She should have just voted for Natalie. Like, I don't
Yes.
really see an upside to the throwaway vote.
Right.
At this point. Candace brings up Rob. She's like, remember how he dropped his fork at breakfast when we were discussing his best friend's murder?
so
that was
weak.
weird.
It's this argument does not make any sense at all. First of all, it makes sense that Rob would be flustered after his closest ally was murdered. Second of all, the fact that he was flustered, like traitors are doing murders every breakfast. So why does him acting flustered in this one make him seem like a traitor when he's never done it before? It doesn't add up. I think she sort of buried the lead a little bit because her other argument was, you were the first one to bring up Lisa. And I don't think that was true, but that feels shadier to me. And like that's like something you can hold on to a little bit.
Yeah, the fork is not compelling.
The fork
Yeah,
is not good.
but she kind of, I don't know if she has any evidence because I don't think that there is any evidence that Rob is the first one to say Lisa. She's just
Right.
like, Colton was your guy. I think that you were using Colton to float Lisa and other names, but she can't really prove that. And like, as far as we can tell, that's not what happened.
Yeah.
Unless something happened off camera.
Like Colton was just murdered. So why you're saying they were allied? It doesn't really make sense. At this point, it's very clear that she's just like, well, let me make Rob look bad on the way out.
Oh, yeah. Candace is like, I am cooked. Let me see if I can burn Rob.
Yeah.
The
while I'm
editors
going
try to make it
down.
look like maybe she has changed some minds because the edit was like 90% Candace piling on to Rob, and you're like, well, has she convinced anyone?
No.
Yeah, I don't think maybe not. Maybe it'll percolate with people. But right now, people are really focused on the accumulation of, like, he just has a lot more material on Candace than she
Yeah.
has on him. And her vote was like a really big part of it. And I'm like really frustrated that she did this vote. Maura points out that she claimed it was a throwaway, but now she's actually gunning for Rob, which is even weirder. Like, why would you just happen to do a throwaway vote for someone and then the next day be like, now I'm convinced he's a traitor?
Yeah,
Right.
this was such an error.
She could have voted for Natalie, mended things with Rob in the turret. Like, you can see a whole different path for her where she still eventually goes at Rob, but just not quite yet. But she really boxed herself in
Yeah,
with
I
the
think she-
throwaway vote.
Probably should have bought herself some time, and
She's too
unfortunately,
soft at heart. She just like got really defensive of Lisa and she like could not come back from it. But I was so frustrated because at the beginning of the episode, she's like, I'm going to serve my revenge cold. And I'm like, no, you actually could have done that if she had sat on it and made
Right.
nice with him and voted for Natalie. And she explicitly, out of nowhere, decided to instead throw public suspicion on him or try to. And now you can't serve it cold anymore. Like,
Right.
that ship has sailed.
I think she could have patted Rob's ego a little bit in the turret, right? She could have maybe said, like, Lisa's my friend. I couldn't do it, but you're right. We had to move on. And Rob would have been like, finally, she's telling me that I'm smart.
Yeah.
That's how I know she's being honest.
she's not scolding me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mommy likes me again. I'm
Yeah.
back in mommy's good graces.
Mommy can stay as long as she says I'm the best boy. As a mother of sons, it really is terrifying. After the conversation ends, Alan asks if anyone would like to use the dagger power, and Rob again demurs wisely.
Yeah, he correctly identifies that people are probably afraid to ever go against him because they know that he has this power. Or a
Another
lot of the people
psychopath
left.
observation, right? Like, where he's sort of like, I don't need to use it. It's psychological leverage over them because he says subconsciously or consciously, they don't want to go against me because they know I have it. And it's like, that is
Yeah.
true. And again, not the type of thing that normal people think.
Yeah, and I questioned whether he should tell people about it, but I
I thought it was a good move.
because my question was like, does it tip his hand that he knows for a fact that none of them are traitors? But in fact, of course, what it did is, yes, reveal to them that he has this power, so they have to suck up to him.
Right. And bunches, I mean, a 5-person alliance in a game like this is pretty powerful.
Oh, it's incredibly powerful. That's the thing. They have the numbers.
And you don't even need to win the vote just on those numbers because people hate departing from the consensus. So then you get the people on the other side also, as we see. Candace's alliance completely falls apart during this vote. The votes are mostly for Candace, Maura, Eric, Johnny, Kristen, Dorinda, Mark, Tara, Stephen, and Rob, who has his own little speech for Candace, the beautiful, charming, very intelligent lady. I voted for you.
Calm down, Rob. I will say that at least Johnny and Tara, who are in Candace's alliance, did manage to spell her name correctly, and I think no one else did.
Mark did, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, Mark did too.
Was it Mark? I saw one of them on social media being like, I do not understand why everyone keeps spelling other people's names wrong. We see those names constantly.
I think it was like Mark and Kristen being like, why can't anyone spell
I
names?
honestly wondered whether production hid the spellings just to create these moments.
No, apparently they're seeing them
not.
all the time.
He's like, you go back to your room and there are just like portraits with the names written on them, and you just
God, that
stare
is-
at them all night trying to
so
figure
embarrassing. That is so embarrassing. Also, no wonder they all talk about not sleeping. They're just like staring at a wall of portraits. That would creep me out. I have to say another great humiliation for Survivor fans. Natalie throwing a vote at Tara.
Yeah.
Because Candace tries to deflect and says Tara rallied the votes against Natalie, and Natalie, not seeing that as like an obvious deflection, is like, well, then I'm going to vote for Tara. And I don't know. Between like Jam basically panicking the entire season until he is literally removed screaming, and then Natalie having like a panic attack at the banquet, and then
It's not a great
sort
season
of-
for Survivor
Yeah.
heads.
no,
I don't
we're
watch
supposed to
Survivor.
be good at, like, Survivor people are supposed to be good at it, and they're not. It's been in general, it's been humbling for the Survivor community. And this one is just like, come on, we're getting schooled. Top Chef is beating us. It's embarrassing.
And Dancing with the Stars.
So I don't watch Survivor, but is there an element to like the completely unpredictable murder component that gets in their heads where they feel less in control through the alliances and so on than they do on Survivor?
There are blind sides in Survivor where they're voting you out behind your back, right? They're orchestrating that behind your back. So there is that sort of like you're always suspicious, but there isn't like a totally out of your control murder thing. Generally speaking, there's nothing like that. And I think that's what sort of drives them nuts. That seems like what Jam Jam was like, I'm gonna get murdered. And I was at home being like, you're not really gonna die, dude. Like, please.
Yeah, they're
please
crazy about the murders. They're just like, I could be playing the best game and I'll still just get murdered. And they ruin their game trying to prevent that from happening.
Right. And I mean, I do think we need to work towards a meta where just like begging for a shield is normalized, where it's just like, please, like I'll do anything for a shield.
I don't understand actually why this season specifically they seem to be extra allergic to shields. I don't remember that from the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, I don't quite get it. And I just think that there needs to be like watching them freak out about being murdered and talk about like being sleep deprived. It's like there needs to be a little safety valve here. I kind of liked the idea that maybe only a few people would be available for murder each night. And I was sort of hoping that they would expand that such that people actually knew who was safe and whatever and who wasn't. That way, I wouldn't have to see everyone constantly talking about how they were afraid of being murdered, because it just annoys me.
I feel like the challenge they had where they were able to block a murder by all rejecting the shield set some sort of norm where after that they were
now
like,
we don't do shields. We don't do that in this game.
It's pro-social to not do shields. And it's like, no, that one time, because then no one would get murdered.
Every other time you should go for the shield. Also, I feel like usually there's more shields available. Yeah. And there's been a bunch of challenges where there were very few shields.
And it does seem like it's gauche now, where they're like, ooh, I don't want to.
Yeah, no, you're suspicious if you want a shield at this point, unless we all tell you, Rob, that you deserve one.
Right.
Yeah, if everyone comes together and insists that Rob take a shield, how could he say no? And then we'll all get to spend more time with Rob.
So Candace obviously knows that she's going home, but she does vote for Rob, the sole person who votes for Rob. And in her speech, she says, we need to start looking at people who are unassuming, quiet, who we think we can trust, but perhaps we shouldn't. And I was like, if people are clocking this speech, this would be the one thing that I think maybe could come back on Rob after Candace is exposed. Because she is sort of saying, I thought I could trust Rob. And I couldn't.
And like the timing of all of this, like it is just, this is peak traitor on traitor violence
100%.
time in the game. Like you've got to be looking at that very closely.
Right. I mean, Lisa just gets voted out. Candace now revealed to be a traitor. Back to back, she's going at Rob. I mean, like I know that we have, the sort of benefit of perspective here, but I'm like, this feels pretty obvious to me.
Yeah. I'm sure that I would figure it out if I were in the castle.
I would have gotten it right 100% of the way, I think. The game would be over.
Yeah. Natalie votes for Tara. Yeah.
Inexplicable.
Candace is banished. Everyone basically voted against her except for Natalie, including all of her allies. Very sad. She starts to cry. And as she leaves, in her speech, she says, I love you all so much. This experience has been life-changing. I've never been in a situation where I've connected to so many people so quickly. I feel like I played this game with valor, with love, and with respect, and with treachery, because I am a traitor. She saunters off, and in her confessional, she tells the camera, I'm proud of how I played this game. But she says she's really started to love everyone and have a hard time lying. And I do think that was her downfall in the end.
Yeah.
But she is confident that she will have kind of convinced the faithfuls to look at Rob. And I hope that's true. They're so blinded by those snake-covered biceps.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't think that she has. But she does point out, in the event that they don't, joke is on them. So.
Yeah. I do think that right now it doesn't seem like Rob has any immediate problems. Like they immediately cut to I think it was Kristen being like, You know who I know it's not.
She says, there's no way Rob could be a traitor because he's a sweet, sweet man.
He's a sweet boy. You seeing those guns? It's not.
Oh,
It's
my
not
sweet
Rob.
boy.
Um,
I'm sorry. What are you saying about Candace? You don't think Candace is a
Right, you
sweet
don't-
lady? You all thought she was so sweet until today.
it's it's so bizarre the hoops that people jump through mentally when they're friendly with someone, when they like someone, to tell themselves it couldn't be them. It couldn't be them.
Yeah.
I do think though my sort of long-term prediction, and I'll put it out there, is that in the immediate future this does not hurt Rob, but as the field starts to narrow and people start to think about what's it going to look like at the end game, who am I confident standing next to and saying, I think you're a faithful? I don't think Rob gets on that short list. I think someone thinks back to this and says, that was bizarre, right? And I think
Yeah.
that's as far as Rob can go.
You can get pretty far in the game with some suspicion on you, but it's very hard to convince people to end the game with you with that
You
suspicion.
cannot
I could even
really-
see him getting all the way to that final fire pit and then someone not wanting to end the game with him.
Yeah, I think it's possible. It just gets harder for him as the field shrinks and shrinks and shrinks. And this is like one of the ongoing themes of the Traitors. You can't wash the stink of suspicion off you. You just
That's
can't
the
ever
thing.
do it. Like
It's kinda like,
Natalie's
well-
cooked too. Like it doesn't. She
Yeah.
shouldn't be. It doesn't matter. But like she is, because at some point someone is going to be like, well, I don't know, but we were all suspicious of Natalie a few episodes ago, so let's just banish her.
No, it's like the witch trials. The only way to definitively prove that you're not guilty is to die. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then everyone's like, oh, man. Oh,
Right.
Wasn't
wrong
a
again.
witch.
Right. It's that,
Yeah.
oh, she floated or she sank to the bottom or
Yeah.
whatever. It's like, right.
I'll
Yeah.
haul another sodden corpse out of the river. We'll try
Yeah.
again next time.
But it does seem like in the immediate, Johnny Weir is going to be screwed because he is so friendly with Candace. He even knows, he's like, damn it, I was aligned with a traitor. And now everyone is throwing his name out there.
Which
namely
Especially Rob.
Another thing people get wrong, it's like traitors don't publicly align like that, right? It's like, if anything, you
Traitors
should look
have
at Johnny and
friends.
think he's probably not a traitor, because how dumb are you that you would just publicly be friends with someone else who is in the turret?
Exactly. They all are at least intelligent enough to not be publicly a clique. Like,
Right.
these three random people are close for no particular reason.
And I'm annoyed,
But-
by the way, that we might lose the cutest scene in every episode where Johnny and Tara find each other in a hallway and just
know, I
like
love
do a
that.
giant hug. It's so cute.
I want them there as long as possible.
I
I love Johnny Weir.
I'm obsessed with their little hugs and also with how like irrelevant it is to the game that they're like
Right.
pretending they don't know each other, but they're like having fun with the
Also
cloak and
incredible
dagger
that
of it all.
truly none of these people watch Olympic figure skating. They have
Right.
no idea that they're friends.
Right. It's so, I mean, in the beginning, it did make sense that they're like, we don't want people to know that we are like really tight because, yeah, if someone's really close like that, maybe you're thinking about them a little bit more. Now it's clear that it's irrelevant, but they're still doing it. And it's so embarrassing that no one has ever watched the Winter Olympics in this castle.
No, it's
It's
shocking.
Not one.
And it's like the most popular Winter Olympic sport. Like if you watch nothing else, you're watching Johnny and Tara do Olympics figure
for like
skating.
10 years. I mean,
Right. And also, are you not like
Shameful.
talking to these people about their careers where it's like, hey, what do you do? And she's like, oh, I'm a gold medalist. And you're not like following up, well, what do you do now? And like, oh, did you know that Johnny also does announcing for the Winter Olympics? Are you
Maybe
guys?
They are
they
not
created
interested.
elaborate new backstories. No, and it's perfectly plausible at this point that they would have become close by being on the show together. Like, oh, that's
Right.
so random. Two of us figure skaters here. Like, by the end of the game, we've gotten quite close, but they're pretending that they barely speak. But I love it. They're so cute.
they're
It is
so
cute.
cute.
Yeah, I think the other piece of evidence that Rob is using about Johnny is that Candace nominated him to get a shield, and so obviously that's what a traitor would do. And people are just like, "Oh yeah, it's probably Johnny."
Another.
It's Johnny.
It's so funny how many people get this stuff exactly backwards, where it's like, actually, that's exactly what a traitor wouldn't do, is nominate a fellow traitor, right? Like all that's like level 2 thinking, right? It's just like, okay, level 1 is like traitors are helping each other. Level 2 is like, okay, but they don't want to seem like they are, right? So they're
Right.
probably not doing stuff like that.
I
Anyway.
think another part of this is just that people are so eager to have suspicion on someone who's not them that they're like,
Yes.
great point, man. Yeah, brilliant. Johnny. It's Johnny.
Let's vote someone else off, and I'm one step closer. I mean,
Exactly.
from a game
Which
perspective,
which
it does
is
make
true.
sense.
Yeah. Like, you can't be only voting out traitors. That's not how you win this game.
Right.
You got to vote out a bunch of faithfuls, too. So it seems like the writing is kind of on the wall for Johnny, which I think is starting to dawn on Tara at the end of this episode.
And now it's smart that they were not publicly kissing or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't we look like fools?
Yeah,
They
true.
made the right decision.
So Rob heads to the turret alone, and this sweet, sweet man has finally been freed from his mean mommies. And he is like, I have complete control. Finally, some peace and quiet, because none of those nagging ladies are here to say anything to me.
It's V-Day in the turret.
He's like, finally, we're really in a turret, not a longhouse. Oh my God, I've been spending way too much time online. Alan comes in and he says, how does it feel to be the slayer of housewives? And Rob is like, it feels really good to kill women. I love it. It's great. Alan also tells Rob that he has to recruit tonight. He has to pick a faithful, make them an offer. The offer is join or die. If they accept, they will murder together tonight. And Rob has a plan, and it is pick one of the men, because he does not want to spend any more time than he has to with a woman. And I think that's very clear.
Well, it's winning time, all right? No more games, all right? The preface is over. It's time to move on to the real story, which is a couple of dudes.
Exactly.
A couple of dudes doing murder.
Yeah, exactly. Or Johnny, to just be an immediate sacrificial lamb. He's the most suspicious faithful, and, also the most visibly queer man who is left on the show.
So obviously he needs to die.
Or he's or someone really smart, like Eric. What?
Okay. I don't mean to be rude.
No.
But when he's like, well, the theory for Johnny, I have to say, makes some sense. I don't think it'd be great, but it's coherent, right? He's saying,
I agree.
You bring in Johnny, voted out immediately, right? Banished, another traitor, 3 traitors in a row. Everyone is like, oh, cool, but what the fuck is going on, right? One traitor after another. I think the problem with that theory is that you can't just keep doing that. And so you need a long-term partner. He says, well, Eric's smart. And I mean, the edits are tight. Who knows what we're missing? But the only theory we've seen floated by Eric is look, I'm an auditory genius. And
I heard that laugh.
I know a lady's laugh when I hear one, folks. And I also call back, because I didn't get to say it on the show at the time, but scumbag Michael Rappaport with one of my favorite lines of the year when Eric was throwing shade at him at the round table, and he was like, oh, it's the man with the magic ears.
You do have to hand it to him.
Incredible line. Made me feel bad that he was getting banished that night. I was like, I would like to hear a little more of that gold out of that scumbag's mouth. But what have we seen from Eric that makes... Is Rob just being nice? Or are they maybe productions say something nice about the people you're going to recruit?
No, I think Rob believes that the smartest people there are the nice straight men who like him.
I was a couple things would be going on here. One is that Rob is smart, and he's got to know that everyone is going to be looking for a man, because the traitors so far have all been women, and everyone's going to be probably a dude at some point. So we've seen traitors consider this in the past when they're recruiting, and it makes sense. Also, it does kind of feel like he just looks at the men and he's like, I want to spend time with them more. I take them more seriously. I don't enjoy being around women. I don't know what they'll contribute. So maybe I'd rather just pick one of the men. I think those are probably both playing into it. Personally.
Yeah, yes, I would
possible.
agree, and not
you guys
subconsciously.
really
I don't
hate
think
Rob
he's
these days,
out
huh?
here.
Listen, Rob is really pissing me off.
He's pissing me off, and I went into this season loving Rob and knowing he would be very good at this. I'm just starting to see some patterns that are consistent from his Love Island days.
I'm less convinced that he's this expressly sexist, and more convinced that he's an absolute legit diagnosable psychopath. That's where I am. Which sexism falls into it.
But he loves his bros. Like, I do think that he
went
genuinely
to the mattresses for Ron, even though it was obvious that Ron was going to go home.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. But that could be anti-racism. That could be his deep-seated
Honestly,
anti-racism.
So true.
wow.
He's
Twist.
actually, yeah.
You didn't think about
We're-
that, did
we're
you?
the
The thing, I
bigots.
don't think that Rob is like an overt, cold hard misogynist. I
Right.
don't think he thinks he doesn't like women. I think he is just like, they're like always trying to like tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I think I'm going maybe I'm going a step further and saying, like, yes, he probably does have a disdain for women, but also all other human beings, and like no understanding of them as like complete, fully formed entities.
Yeah,
right?
he is like,
Yeah.
I would pick Mark, but Mark is already in my pocket. So who needs
Which,
that?
yeah, again, good observation, creeps me out. I do think that Eric is like a good choice here because Eric is just like such a kind of nothing faithful, right? Like there's absolutely no suspicion on him at all. He would have been, frankly, a weird choice for production as a traitor. Not a huge like American audience, right? I don't know. I don't do production. Maybe he would have been a great choice. It just feels to me like every year there's a few people who everyone's just like, they're a faithful. Don't worry about them, right? And Eric's in that category right now.
For
and so
sure.
you yank out of that pool. It makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad choice. It is just funny that he's like, here are all the people I could choose. Men.
You gotta throw a lady in there.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
listen.
just for the optics, Rob.
Or I wish he had said, I'm gonna focus my search on men
dude,
because
yeah.
obviously people know that it's not gonna be like only women in the
Right.
turret.
Right.
But maybe he did say that and it got cut. We
Yeah.
don't see it.
What's that rule that like the NFL has that you have to bring in like one person who isn't a white man for the
Yeah,
interview?
yeah.
Like you just got to put one in there, even though you know
They
that they're not going to get the job.
They should implement some more just like aggressive anti-misogyny rules into the Traitors, where it's like,
Yeah.
no, Rob, you have to consider a woman.
Just say her name and why she would make a really good traitor.
And
Just
then you don't have to
for the
pick
edit.
her.
You don't look, it's the same as the NFL. You don't actually have to choose them. Let's just see a good faith effort, all right?
Exactly. So he makes his choice, and it is Eric.
Eric is the smartest man in the game, which is why he sees the handwriting and is like, I know who the traitor is. Johnny.
Does he think that because he thinks he recognizes Johnny's handwriting, or is he
Yes.
just so convinced that it's Johnny at this point?
No,
so
he's
now,
like, I know the handwriting, just like he knew the laugh.
yeah, I don't think this man
Again,
has
no
a career
lessons.
in forensics.
No lessons learned. Like, you're a handwriting guy now too? What are you talking about?
He spends a lot of time looking at handwritten annotation for the songs that he's working on, and he knows. So he's annoyed. He's like, "Oh, I just want to be left alone. Like, this is what happens when you're nice." He's like, I shouldn't have been friends with Johnny.
Another good line from Eric. This is what happens when you're nice is a great line.
I was like, Eric, you've been here for most of the show at this point. Being nice is working out real well for you.
Right.
He goes to the secret meeting, ready to see Johnny in a hood. He's like, I started this game as a faithful. I will die as a faithful. I could never be a traitor. Or I could
Or-
do
Like,
this.
you will. You absolutely will.
Right. Also, do we need to act like it's being recruited to the Nazis or something? Like, relax. It's a game show. Like, can we please calm down? It's
Like, obviously, you should say yes.
right.
Yeah.
What do you like? No, thank you. I'd rather go home than continue to be on the show on the Traitors. What are you talking about, dude?
Yeah,
Relax.
That's the kind of integrity that I bring to this game.
Well, this is what I'm saying. I do feel like the castle makes people a little bit crazy, right? Where you're like,
For sure.
I actually am part of like this meaningful clique, the faithful. The idea of being recruited away from it makes me feel like I've lost my place in the social ladder here.
Yeah, they're like, I was morally superior, and now I
Right.
can't
Well,
be anymore.
It's another thing about this game that I love where it just like really replicates like in a petri dish the way these dynamics work in the real world, where it's like how much of being in these groups is just about like artificially like policing how morally virtuous it is to be part of this group. And then people are afraid to ever leave the group for any reason.
Right.
Like, why? Like, yeah, they all came in wanting to be traitors, but now that they've been a faithful for like 3 episodes, they're like,
Right.
a person like me could never.
It's been like a week and a half in the real world, and they're like, I would never abandon my team.
Because they have nothing else. They're all just sitting around being like, well, what do we have to go on? It's just like convincing each other that we're the kind of people who would
my
never
integrity.
be a traitor.
This is
So
Claire, this is why you need to watch season 1, because the emotional devastation that Suri just wreaks upon these innocent people,
Oh, no,
it's
I'm
unbelievable.
scared.
I
It's so
do
good.
need to watch season
It's so
1.
good.
No, we did not. Yeah, we missed season 1.
Yeah, one day I'm gonna go back if I ever like break my leg or something and I'm, bedridden or something.
Unfortunately, you've made the huge mistake of having a family.
Well, that's the thing is I basically never get to watch anything that isn't
Mhm.
strictly work related anymore because my children need so much attention. Don't do
Right.
it, guys.
Really annoying of them.
No, it's bullshit.
So at the end of the episode, Rob removes his hood and Eric is completely flabbergasted. I think he jumps about a foot in the air.
He's like,
And
that's not the
recoils.
handwriting analysis I did in my lab.
He's like, what? My forensics were wrong.
Right.
What have I done?
He's going through his mind castle of auditory cues, and he's like, I can't find Rob in it at all.
Oh, but this is good. I enjoyed how shook he is from this, and I think it's going to be definitely a fun back part of the
Right.
season.
And
Honestly,
we're gonna,
this episode was so fun. I had a great
It was
time.
it was a good episode. I was sort of stressed for reasons I don't really understand throughout, just like wondering where it was going to go in terms of Candace versus Rob, and I'm curious about the future because I am sort of a little bit worried that Rob is gonna just puppeteer Eric in like a way
think
that
he
feels disturbing to watch.
I think that it's like at least 50% chance that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were floating Rob as a potential celebrity bachelor in the future, and like I feel like the season is going in a direction where I just wouldn't be able to sell that anymore because it's getting not very romantic.
No, I think we got to go to our backup West Wilson for that honor, Claire.
another good TV dirtbag.
Yeah.
Well, I think that we have to wrap it there. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you can come back sometime because your reality TV insights are not bad.
Thank you. And I don't watch a lot of it, so that's very meaningful to me. It's really just Survivor and this and Top Chef, which
That's
is
all you need.
I mean,
that's great.
Top Chef just became relevant in the Traitors, and I'm very excited. I'm ready to see some more chefs. But this is very fun.
Before you go, can you let our listeners know where they can find you and your work?
Yeah. I am at, well, I'm not going to give my socials. That's too embarrassing. I'm on If Books Could Kill and 5 to 4. And in real life, I'm always at my house if you wanna hang out. I don't leave.
Cool.
Are you inviting strangers to just pop by your residence?
Yes, although I will stand my
have a
ground. No, please don't try to find me in person.
That's creepy.
Well, if you're not familiar somehow, I'm always recommending both of your podcasts to our newsletter subscribers. But If Books Could Kill is like an amazing podcast about terrible airport nonfiction books, and 5-4 is about the Supreme Court, and they're both excellent shows. So check them out, and don't show up at Peter's house. Please be cool.
No.
Okay.
You can see me on my new podcast, Hate to See It. It's about reality television shows.
Interesting.
It's
Okay.
about beautiful white men who are just so sweet.
I'm looking to add another perspective, right? What about the white guys?
Yeah, then
Who's gonna
that's
speak for them?
diversity. I'm so
Yeah.
glad you're doing the real work of DEI. Thank you
Look,
for your
Trump
efforts.
won. Okay.
All right. I think we have to cut it off there.
Sorry for ruining the end of your episode.
No. No, we had a great time. Thank you so much. This was super fun and like such a delight. If you ever want to come talk about a reality show again, We'll always love to have you, but if you don't want to, that's cool
also
too.
fair.
It's totally cool.
But yeah.
No, it was cool. It was cool. This is fun. I'm so glad to have people, an audience to just shout this shit at rather than my wife.
So on that note, that is it for this episode of Love to See It with Emma and Claire. If you're watching this on YouTube, remember to like and subscribe to our channel. And of course, thanks to our wonderful guest, Peter Shamshiri.
Love to See It is a presentation of Odyssey. The show is produced by us, Claire Fallon and Emma Gray. Our production assistant is Tatiana Kenny-Smith, who also edits our video. This episode was edited by John Bahar. Our theme music is by Tamar Habib, and our art is by Aaron Nestor.
If you like our show, remember to follow us, rate us 5 stars, leave a review, and of course, spread the word to all of your friends about our show.
If you want to get in touch, you can email us at claireandemmapod@gmail.com.
You can also find us on TikTok at Love to See It Pod and on Instagram at Claire and Emma Pod. And you can find our newsletter Rich Text on Substack at claireandemma.substack.com. I'm also on Blue Sky at Emma Gray and on Instagram at EmmaLadyRose.
And I'm at Claire E. Fallon. Special thanks to the team at Odyssey, Eric Donnelly, Peter Arriaga, Kate Rose, Mara Curran, Melissa Wester, and Hillary Schiff.
We'll be back soon.
Can you keep